Welcome to the Fleet Geeks podcast. We're here to help develop fleet and transport professionals. Do you want to progress and develop your skills and knowledge? We promise to bring lively conversation and debate around interesting issues and keep you bang up to date with changes in our awesome industry. The Fleet Geeks are a community of professionals, and if you enjoy the podcast, why not join the discussion for free in the Fleet Geek community over on Facebook.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of A Half Dozen Things. Oh, I'm not even doing a half dozen things. What am I thinking? Today's episode of Fleet Geeks podcast. Half dozen things doesn't even exist anymore. So today is the Fleet Geeks podcast, and I'm here to tell you about the Guide to Maintaining Roadworthiness update that occurred on November the 5th this year. So a couple of weeks ago, the DVSA made a few changes to the GTMR, or the Guide to Maintaining Roadworthiness, and I wanted to record a podcast just to talk about some of the key changes that we've seen. So there's actually 279 changes in total that we picked up as part of the change. And it's important to note the exception of the load and brake test requirements that take effect. These changes are now in place and ready to change. So there is a change from April for the brake test element, which we'll talk about in a bit. So what's the key things you need to know? Safety, inspection and repair facilities, really, really important. There's a paragraph been added to the guide clarifying the minimum requirements of your maintenance provider, along with the accreditation schemes for workshop and quality control checks that should still be completed by the operator, and making sure that we speak to operators around MOT pass rates and those kinds of things. The paragraph is, if you choose to outsource any of your maintenance, you need to take steps to ensure the maintenance facility is adequately equipped and completes any work to a satisfactory standard. The quality of the work and the workshop facilities should be periodically reviewed by undertaking quality assurance checks. So there's going to be a requirement there to make sure that we do quality assurance checks on workshops. That's something Flagship's been doing for some time for our clients, making sure we do ongoing workshop audits. And there's the new workshop maintenance provider standard that's going to be introduced soon by DVSA as well, which we can start to make sure that our maintenance providers are working towards. And there's more details to follow that in due course. A bit of changes around brake performance. Every safety inspection must assess the brake performance of the vehicle or trailer by EBPMS, roller brake test, or a decelerometer with temperature checks before and afterwards. And from April 2025, the standard is that the expectations of a minimum of 4 laden brake tests spread evenly through the year. However, where a laden brake test or EBPMS evaluation isn't completed, a risk assessment must be completed by a competent person to support this. There's an example risk assessment template which can be found in Annex 7 of the guide, and the acceptable reasons for not carrying out a laden brake test can be found on page 51.
Hello, it's Shani from Flagship Partners. We are really proud to sponsor the Fleet Geeks podcast. If you need expert advice or training for your fleet business, make Flagship Partners your first choice. We are really excited to announce the launch of our Transport Manager Academy. With expert development for fleet leaders, we offer fully accredited initial Transport Manager CPC training, CPC refresher, and operator license awareness training, as well as mentoring, support, and professional development beyond the qualification. Our vision is to develop elite fleet professionals,
which is certainly worth making sure you review that if you don't load for brake test. Obviously, if you don't load for brake test, please do drop us a line, and we can discuss those instances with you. What happens at the end of a test? So the following paragraph has been added regarding MOT test certificates. If a vehicle passed the test certificate will no longer be printed. The result can be viewed, downloaded and printed freely from the MOT history service, which is online. If the vehicle failed the test, you will receive documentation which lists where the vehicle failed the test. You can also ask for copies of smoke and brake test reports too. There's a note of the following addition due to wheel security. It's also important to check manufacturers' recommended procedures when refitting road wheels. So make sure you review your wheel torque policy and make sure it does refer to checking the manufacturer's recommendations around how to refit those road wheels, because different manufacturers have different recommendations. So definitely worth paying attention to that. Reference vehicle emissions. Operators should have a documented system in place to monitor the use of AdBlue. This can be either via your daily defect checks, where drivers should note if they're topping up AdBlue, or by how much, or via an alternative method, which you should be able to evidence. So we need to make sure we evidence how we're checking vehicle emissions and use of AdBlue. What you need to do next, make sure that as an operator or transport manager that you're reviewing and updating your systems. These changes were applicable from the release date on November the 5th this year. Obviously, the brake tests are due to be enforced from April 2025. Making sure you review your brake test printout and that you understand what's on there. If you do need help with brake test printouts, that again is something Flagship Partners can support you with. Make sure you audit your workshop provider. Make sure you're doing quality assurance checks on them. And despite the Guide to Maintaining Roadworthiness being a guide, it is very much accepted as best practice and therefore the minimum standards that you're expected to uphold as part of your operating. So that's a whistle-stop tour of the updates. I know there's different people out there doing different elements for you, but I thought I would record a quick update around the Guide to Maintaining Roadworthiness. I'm actually off today, heading to Cambridge, to Cambridge University Judge Business School, to talk about artificial intelligence and how we're applying that at Flagship through our Allied program. If you're interested in the Allied membership and being able to get access to our AI answer software, as well as a suite of other services as part of the Allied program, please do drop us a line. And I hope the update on the Guide to Maintaining Roadworthiness is helpful, and has triggered maybe some things that you need to look at yourself over the coming weeks to make sure that you're applicable. Obviously, I know it's quite stressful for transport managers thinking about auditing maintenance providers, and that is obviously now, that's a requirement that we make sure that we quality assure maintenance providers. If you do need any help or support, we're here to help you. And there's previous podcasts that I've recorded around how to carry out workshop audits and the things to look out for. So I have provided that advice freely available on a previous podcast as well. I hope that's helpful, like I say, and if anyone's got any questions, give us a shout. Take care and see you later.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please share with your friends and colleagues too. Join us for free on Facebook with the Fleet Geeks community for transport and fleet managers. Fleet Geeks offers ongoing professional development, networking and mentoring too. So get in touch with me, Pete Rushmer, on any social media platform to find out more.